Welcome to the e-learning course concerning the familiarization of professionals with the aquaculture sector. In the next 40 minutes, we will take you to an educational tour concerning the aquaculture industry. During this e-learning course, significant information will be given for the concept of blue growth, the economic overview, the required academic qualifications, the necessary technical skills and behavioral competences, as well as the potential job opportunities for a successful professional career in the aquaculture sector. In particular, special focus will be given to the Eastern Mediterranean and Black Sea region. Sir Arthur Clarke, a British science fiction writer, once said how inappropriate to call this planet Earth, when it is clearly an ocean, as 71% of the Earth's surface is water. It is a very high percentage, and it is imperative the need to further harness its potential, oceans, seas and coasts, in order to create jobs and value, always from a sustainable point of view. This is the blue growth concept we have been hearing about. The blue economy represents roughly 5.4 million jobs and generates a gross added value of almost 500 billion a year, while the output of the global ocean economy is estimated at 1.3 trillion euros today, and this could be more than double by 2030. Our coasts and seas have the potential to deliver growth and jobs in the years to come. To ensure sustainable blue growth in marine and maritime sectors, we need highly qualified and skilled professionals. For these reasons, a mentor project for marine and maritime economic activities have been selected as of strategic importance in the Eastern Mediterranean and Black Sea region. These include both traditional as well as emerging industries in the region, namely maritime transport, cruise tourism, offshore oil and gas, and marine aquaculture. Maritime transportation includes operating vessels, shipbuilding and ship repair. Cruise tourism industry consists of cruise lines, travel agents, key suppliers and cruise line partners including ports. The offshore oil and gas industry refers to the development of oil fields and natural gas deposits under the ocean. The majority of oil and gas production in Europe takes place offshore. Marine aquaculture refers to the farming of species that live in the ocean. Aquaculture is the farming of aquatic organisms, using techniques designed to increase the production of the organisms in question, beyond the natural capacity of the environment. Aquaculture covers the rearing of animals, mainly finfish, crustaceans and mollusks, and the cultivation of plants or algae. The phases of aquaculture include broodstock holding, hatchery production of seed, nursing systems, grow-out systems, and quarantining. Aquaculture occurs in both coastal brackish water, seawater areas, and inland freshwater. Marine aquaculture, also known as mariculture, is practiced in the sea, in a marine water environment, while coastal aquaculture is practiced in completely or partially human-made structures in areas adjacent to the sea, such as coastal ponds and gated lagoons. Inland aquaculture is typically practiced in a freshwater environment in most countries. Earthen ponds remain the most commonly used type of facility for inland aquaculture production, although raceway tanks, above-ground tanks, pens and cages are also widely used where local conditions allow. Aquaculture systems range from very extensive, through semi-intensive, and highly intensive to hyper-intensive. Farming systems are also diverse, for example including water-based systems as pens and cages. The production of fish from cages is increasing globally. Land-based systems as ponds, tanks and raceways. Integrated farming systems such as agriculture and fish dual-use recycling systems as high-control enclosed systems. Recirculating aquaculture systems can reduce reuse and recycle water and waste. They can be used in all phases of aquaculture. It is likely that use of recirculation systems in intensified commercial aquaculture will increase in future. Fish are an important part of the Mediterranean diet, which recommends consuming more fish than meat. Over the past decade, there has been a significant promotion of fish intake because of its high-quality protein content, low-fat content, and because it is a good source of vitamins and minerals, but overall because it contains large amounts of omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids EPA and DHA. Seafood has always been a vital part of our diets, with evidence of its consumption dating back over 40,000 years. To this day, billions of people regularly eat seafood, and hundreds of millions rely on it as their main source of protein. As the world population increases, aquaculture is becoming more important than ever as the fastest-growing food production sector. Modern intensive farming uses about 44 million square kilometers of land for crops and produces 97% of food. The sea is much larger and produces only 3% of the food. The demands of a growing population now far outstrip the sustainable yield of the seas. At the same time as fishing has become more industrialized, and wild fish are vast overfished, therefore global fish stocks are depleted. So one understands the great importance of aquaculture and the enormous potential that is being opened up. Farmed food fish production included 54.1 million tons of finfish, 17.1 million tons of mollusks, 7.9 million tons of crustaceans, and 938.5 thousand tons of other aquatic animals such as turtles, sea cucumbers, sea urchins, frogs and edible jellyfish. Cultured aquatic plants included mostly seaweeds, and a much smaller production volume of microalgae. The non-food products included only ornamental shells and pearls. Thanks to aquaculture, we can improve and control the productivity of many marine and freshwater species, and refine methods to ensure the environmental friendliness, economic profitability, and social fabric of their production. Global aquaculture production including aquatic plants was 110.2 million tons in 2016, with an annual growth rate of 5.2%. With capture fishery production relatively static since the late 1980s, aquaculture has been responsible for the continuing impressive growth in the supply of fish for human consumption. The contribution of aquaculture to the global seafood production has risen continuously, reaching 46.8% in 2016. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations (FAO) estimates that by 2030, global consumption of farmed fish food will reach 62% of total seafood consumption. The EU represents 1.2% of the world aquaculture production in volume, being the 8th biggest producer in terms of volume. Its production of a total 1.25 million tons consists of 50 mollusks and crustaceans, 27 marine fish and 23 freshwater fish. The 5 main EU aquaculture producers are Spain, France, UK, Italy and Greece. The European Union represents 1.9% of the world aquaculture production in value and directly employs some 85,000 people. The sector is mainly composed of SMEs or micro-enterprises in coastal and rural areas. EU aquaculture is renowned for its high quality, sustainability and consumer protection standards. Aquaculture is facing a new era of expansion in Europe. What are the environmental implications of this? Is sustainable aquaculture possible? Environmental concerns are already recognized by the aquaculture industry, which has made great progress in improving its environmental record in recent years. Research has shown that some environmental pressures can be mitigated in absolute terms. Improvements in efficiency have been noted, as with the reduction of wild fish used in feed. Technological and biological developments will enable further relative improvements, only if ecological interactions can be managed appropriately. As the sector expands further, it must consider how to continually improve its environmental sustainability. Ongoing applied scientific research is needed to develop practical solutions to environmental problems. MSP directive is expected to improve the sustainability of aquaculture by considering when and where various human activities take place at sea. Member states will be required to carefully plan the co-location of marine activities, with the help of improved spatial data. European aquaculture generally includes intensive farming of sea bass and sea bream in marine cages along the coastline, as well as trout and salmon. Intensive farming of freshwater fish such as trout on land in specially constructed raceway systems. Farming of shellfish such as oysters, mussels and clams, in natural conditions. Extensive farming of fish, such as carp and cyprinids in freshwater ponds, levees and estuaries. Siberian sturgeon is farmed in raceways, circular tanks, ponds or cages. It is expected that a remarkable increase in aquaculture production will come from the Eastern Mediterranean, that has competitive advantages compared to the Western Mediterranean. Not only has a higher temperature of 1.8 degrees Celsius as an average, so fish grow faster, but also the appropriate geomorphology with numerous bays and islands that offer a competitive geophysical advantage for this activity. In general, aquaculture plays a major role in the Mediterranean and the Black Sea, especially for countries where fishing mostly occurs along their coast using small-scale vessels. Specifically, in formant or participating countries, aquaculture activity plays a major role, representing 78.7% for Cyprus, 69.5% for Romania, 62.2% for Greece and 54.9% for Bulgaria, of their respective total fisheries production. Modern aquaculture in Greece is dominated by Mediterranean marine species such as European sea bass, gilt-head sea bream and Mediterranean mussels, and in a smaller extent freshwater species as rainbow trout. Greece produces 35 of Mediterranean fish species, being the leader in EU. Land-based breeding stations provide front-of-the growing facilities, which are mostly floating fish cages in the sea. Greek aquaculture production is dominated mainly by the farming of marine finfish and secondly by the culture of Mediterranean mussels. Extensive aquaculture is carried out in coastal lagoons but with a relatively low production. The production of freshwater species such as trout and eel is limited. The total production has the aim of reaching 170,000 tons in 2020, which means 49% increase since 2012. Almost 18 of the aquaculture companies in Greece are large capital companies, responsible for 80% of total aquaculture product sales. Those enterprises represent mainly the marine finfish aquaculture sector, while the freshwater and shellfish aquaculture sector is mainly comprised of small family enterprises. Total employment in the Greek aquaculture sector is estimated at 3,786 employees in 2016 or 3,482 in FTE terms. Male employees dominate the aquaculture sector as they correspond to 88% of the sector for 2016. Female employees are usually employed in marine hatcheries and packing units as well as in companies' secondary activities like deshelling, freezing and processing, and account for 12% of the employment in the sector for 2016. Aquaculture in Cyprus is currently carried out exclusively on the southern coasts of the country, and the culture method utilized is open sea cage culture. In 2015, the main marine species commercially cultured were the gilthead sea bream, European seabass and Indian white prawn. The only freshwater species cultured on a commercial basis for human consumption is the rainbow trout. The main type of aquaculture carried out in Cyprus is marine aquaculture, and the outlook for its expansion is positive. Freshwater fish production is also carried out to some extent, but has been stable over recent years. Total production in Cyprus increases yearly and has reached the aim of 6,332 tons, set for 2023. Cyprus has a long-standing fisheries tradition and history. Despite its limited contribution to the gross domestic product, the Cypriot fisheries sector holds primary significant socio-economic importance, particularly in coastal areas. In 2016, 417 people were employed in the aquaculture and processing sectors, of which 313 were men and 104 were women. The main cultured species in Romania are different carp species as common, silver, bighead, grass or crucian carp, goldfish, rainbow trout and sea trout, and in a lesser extent the blue mussel. The farming system traditionally used in Romanian aquaculture is extensive or semi-intensive, mainly based on cyprinid polyculture rearing in ponds. The largest share in total aquaculture production is held by freshwater species, mainly cyprinids at 89% and only 11% by other species. By 2020, total aquaculture production is expected to reach 36,000 tons, showing an exhibiting increase of 255% compared to 2013. Although not landlocked, Romania mainly produces freshwater aquaculture products and has a good market for common carp. Recently, the diversification of other high-value cultured fish species is encouraged, as sturgeons, turbot, or freshwater prawns, as well as Mediterranean mussels. With only one mussel farm offshore in the Black Sea and one onshore turbot farm, marine aquaculture is underdeveloped, leaving a lot of scope for investment. Total employment in the Romanian aquaculture sector in 2016 was estimated at 3,699 employees or 2,912 in FTE. The main species produced by the Bulgarian aquaculture enterprises are carp, rainbow trout and the Mediterranean mussel. The production of carp is stable, but the cultivation of rainbow trout and Mediterranean mussel continues to grow, as the demand for these species is also growing, not only for the domestic market but also for export. In Bulgaria, production of native species of European catfish is also important for freshwater fish farming and tends to increase, probably due to the introduction of new species, such as African catfish and channel catfish. Sturgeon production includes almost the entire range of species native living in the Bulgarian waters of the Danube and the Black Sea, mainly Russian sturgeon and some introduced species. Introduction of closed recirculation systems allowed the cultivation of some exotic species. Production volume is expected to increase from 14,000 tons to 20,000 tons by 2020, almost 43%, with the freshwater fish farming to have an increase of 34.5% in volume. In 2016, total aquaculture production doubled compared to 2012, with mussels marine culture playing an important role. In 2016, Bulgaria had 557 active aquaculture enterprises with total employment of 1,046 jobs, corresponding to 970 in FTE. During the last years there was a steady tendency for development of marine aquaculture. Along the Bulgarian coast, the main species reared is the Black Sea mussel. Aquaculture is a growing industry and therefore employment opportunities exist around the world. There are many different types of jobs in the industry. The reported data displays an employment of about 85,000 persons in the EU and 14,000 local enterprises. Employment opportunities in the aquaculture sector include jobs such as ichthyologist, hydrobiologist, fisheries and aquaculture technologist, marine biologist, production manager, fishing harvesting crew, aquaculture engineer, hydroponics specialist, fish pathologist, aquaculture veterinarian, underwater craftsman diver, marine environmental expert, aquaculture research scientist, oceanographer, coastal zone management specialist, marine geologist, aquaculture program officer, fish and seafood sales and marketing, seafood inspector, fish processing supervisor, seafood processing worker, fish hatchery supervisor, fish nutrition expert, aquarium expert, fisheries law enforcement and security jobs, fisheries research lab manager. Each fish farm has at least an aquaculture technician and a farm manager. As the size of the fish farm increases, the number of the different jobs and specializations required also increases. Aquaculture research has also a lot of specializations. Aquaculture technicians perform the daily tasks and go by various job titles. For all these job titles, the main work description is to care for the aquatic species in their charge, monitoring the species environment and maintaining those conditions to optimize their health and meet production goals, is the technician's ultimate responsibility at their respective facility. Scientific and experimentation skills are vital in the technician's role. In the aquaculture sector, basic biology skills are required, such as knowledge of the anatomy and physiology of aquatic organisms, knowledge of aquatic and human pathology, knowledge of ecology and genetics, use and maintain laboratory equipment, handle organisms and diagnose disease, knowledge of basic microbiology, hatchery lab skills and management of brood stock, efficient and effective feed management skills, animal husbandry skills, for example feed, harvest, maintaining good records and data. Aquaculture requires also knowledge of basic chemistry that includes practice laboratory safety, knowledge of environmental chemistry, monitoring of water quality, identify poisonous substances and toxins, awareness of chemical reactions and interactions. The following math, computer and analytical skills are required for jobs in the aquaculture sector. Use of basic mathematics, calculate rates, volumes, conversions, use text processing software, email and internet, as well as graphics software, record and interpret data, apply statistics, design research projects. Practical field experience is also required in the aquaculture sector. Practice safety, maintain equipment, understand the natural environment, handle organisms, keep accurate records in the field, possess seamanship skills with small boats, Conduct proper field sampling protocols, organize equipment and improvise. Engineering skills are also needed in order to maintain aeration equipment and filters, work with electrical systems and electronics, work with piping, maintain boat engines, tie knots and mend nets. Communication skills are also needed in order to use good verbal and written communication techniques, read and write technical information, apply people management skills, practice good public relations, communicate using a second language, interpret, translate data to others, speak in public, practice good grant writing skills. Time management and business skills will be needed in order to make sound decisions, schedule, meet deadlines, prioritize tasks, delegate responsibility, write clearly and maintain inventory records, demonstrate business street smarts, interpret accounting data, calculate profit and loss, possess a working knowledge of economics, assist in product development, perform forecasting, make long-range plans, provide input to marketing plans, apply vertical integration. Staying updated is really essential in order to possess an awareness of regulations and statutes, stay informed of aquaculture technology advances, knowledge about food safety and regulations, collect information from libraries, participate in professional activities, maintain association memberships. Let's see now the fish farm manager job profile. A fish farm manager is responsible for the breeding and rearing of fish for the wholesale or retail trade. You'll need an interest in the management and care of fish and a love for working in outdoors cages or indoor tanks. The responsibilities of the fish farm manager are similar to those of aquaculture technician, but at a higher level, and for this reason higher qualifications are required. The main responsibilities of the farm manager include plan breeding programs and growth schedules to obtain maximum efficiency, adhere to environmental standards, understand legislation and how to implement it, adapt to new technologies as they develop, maintain records of stocks and pay attention in order to avoid fish losses, market and sell the fish. The qualifications needed for an aquaculture farm manager are a relevant degree in any of the following subjects: aquaculture, biological sciences, environmental science, chemical science, fisheries studies and management, marine sciences and oceanography, veterinary science, agriculture. Internship experience will be needed in order to perform real-life experience, develop confidence, practice career-related skills. These topics are required if one would like to be engaged in the aquaculture research areas. Practical skills and experience are often considered important postgraduate qualification in aquaculture and fisheries management. Laboratory experience in biology and environmental factors. A PhD is essential in diseases, nutrition, reproduction, genetics. The aquaculture sector, however, is not restricted to food production. The enormous diversity and richness of the ocean environment gives many hopes for the development of blue biotechnology. Marine biotechnology is defined as the use of marine biological resources as a target or source of biotechnological applications. It has the potential to produce sustainable biofuels, feed and food additives, cosmetics, and ways to restore and clean our environment by our recovery. Exploring marine biodiversity helps develop new industrial enzymes and pharmaceuticals. In order to facilitate the mobility of students and staff within the region, a mobility tool has been designed, with the aim to guide each mentoree to select the appropriate Blue courses in a few easy steps. In the mobility tool database, the available ongoing projects funded by Erasmus that are related to our key Blue growth sector in the 4 mentor participating countries have been introduced. Moreover, the available MSc programs related to Blue growth sectors in the mentor participating countries have been identified and added to the tool database. The main objective of the mobility tool is to give each mentoree all available information regarding each Blue sector in the 4 participating countries, in a fast, simple procedure. Step 1. Choose the personal educational level. Step 2. Select the desired field of studies and university of origin. Step 3. View results for the selected fields. Step 4. View the available details for the selected institution. Step 5. View the available courses. Aquaculture is here to stay, and will continue to grow over the coming decades because food security is an issue, and because there is a need for constant progress in the development of more efficient production techniques and the domestication of new species. Is the combination of preserving natural ecosystems while applying sustainable and environment-friendly methods of cultivating food sources in your interests? What about getting a dynamic and challenging job with competitive salary, benefits, opportunities for advancement and stable, year-round employment in beautifully placed fish and shellfish farms and hatcheries? Our Blue Career Center initiative will support you by providing guidance, retraining, upgrading and widening your skills in the marine aquaculture sector. If you wish to get involved, please follow us by scanning the codes below with your mobile phone or simply visit www.bluecareers.org. Thank you very much for your attention.